Welcome to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, a space where we break free from tradition, creating a wedding day totally authentic to you and your love story. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you plan a wedding day that feels uniquely yours. Join me for planning tips and advice, endless inspiration, and a pocket full of calm within the chaos that is wedding planning. Consider me a trusted friend, here to walk you through it all. From injecting fun splashes of personality into your day, to reinventing tradition completely, all whilst focused on building a day bespoke to your dreams and desires. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, welcome back to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I am very grateful to have you here. I am going to address this straight off the bat for the start of this episode. If you're listening just like on a podcast platform and you're just listening and not watching, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But if you are watching, or maybe you're seeing the clips on Instagram or whatever, you might notice that I'm in a little bit of a different location today. I don't have any of my pretty backdrop decorations and I'm not sat on my comfy sofa and the lighting's a bit different. Honestly, I promise it's stressing me out as much as it is you. But I'm still at home. I'm still in the same vicinity. I'm just filming in a different location today. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you might not know, but recently I have got a puppy. Me and my boyfriend have bought a puppy home to live with us and woo, it's a lot. It is a lot, but he is gorgeous. His name is Enzo. He is a Dalmatian and he's just over 11 weeks old at the moment. So his kind of area, his setup is in the living room where I normally film. And there was a part of me that was like, do you know what? We're going to carry on as we always have done. Like we're just, he's just going to have to get on with it. He's going to have to get used to it. And I'll just film and I'll record and he can sit in his little pen in his little crate and he can go to sleep and I'll record. And this morning I was getting stuff set up and ready and I just thought there is absolutely no way. This is the most beautiful dog. He is gorgeous. He is stunning. He is so sweet. He is so lovely. But he is developed serious FOMO. So like anything we are doing, he just wants to be involved in. Of course he does. So I was like, there's no way. There's no way. So I've crammed myself into the corner of my office at the moment. It's the only space I could find that didn't have books and printers and piles of washing that need folding and anything else that I was like, it's just not going to ruin the vibe, it's not going to be quite the vibe. So we've gone plain. You can see the door and a plain white wall. It's not very exciting, but hopefully you're just kind of here for the noise of me anyway. You're kind of here for the sound and for the inspo and the tips. So I'm hoping it's not going to affect you that much. It's just bothering me and that's something I have to deal with, but that's fine. I'm hoping it's just going to be for a couple of weeks, but who knows how long it's going to take him to settle in. Like he's doing very well, but it takes time, right? It takes adjustment and everything else. So we will take it at his pace. We will see how we get on. But for going forwards for the next few weeks, I'm probably going to be sat here and the episodes are probably going to be a little bit shorter than normal, which upsets me. It might upset you, but I just don't have the time to sit for an hour each time at the moment and record the normal podcast thing. So please don't panic. The podcast is still coming. I couldn't leave you without. I'm going to do my very, very best to make sure you still get an episode each week. It just might be like a short, snappy 20 minutes instead of an hour, 40 minutes, We're going to see how we get on. I'm trying not to give myself too many rules to follow, but we shall see how we go. Anyway, might be the longest tangent I've done at the start of an episode that's got nothing to do with weddings. So I do apologise if you're here for wedding stuff, but for people that come back week after week and maybe people that watch it, you might just be wondering what's going on. So I thought I'd share, thought I'd let you know, but we're going to carry on as normal. This week, we are going to do a part 2. I'm making life very easy for myself this week. We're doing a part 2 to the How to Personalise Your Wedding Day episode that we did a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned in that episode that I had about 12 different points or questions that I wanted to go through. And because I talked so much, we only made it through 3 or 4. So I was like, okay, great, we'll do a part 2. So that's what we're going to do today. Part 2 of that topic, talking about how to personalise your day, adding in nice touches. I basically went through, researched a whole bunch of questions and points that I could potentially talk about and I've put them down here, so I'm going to go through them. And as always, if there's anything else that I haven't touched on that you would like to know, you would like to ask, you can send in questions. There's email addresses and Instagram handles and all the other lovely stuff in the show notes below if you want to go find that. And as always, if you're enjoying it, please leave me a review. It makes a huge difference. So yeah, enough from me. Let's get straight on into what you've come here for, which is the wedding planning tips. So let's go. So I liked this point, and there's a reason I wrote this one down, because I feel like it's something I wanted to touch on and just to kind of have a bit of a conversation about. But this one says, how can couples personalize their wedding vows if they're nervous about writing them? It's such a good question, right? Because wedding vows are such a big thing, and I think people can overthink them a lot as well, because there's a lot of pressure on it, right? For that moment, this is what everyone's come to see, and you're saying your vows, and it's this whole thing. Like sometimes people just do the simple, this is what you say to get married, and we're not doing personalized vows. We don't want to do that. That's absolutely fine. But if you're looking for a way to personalize it, it's probably why you're here, then there are different ways that you can do that and make yourself feel comfortable in that process too, because I know that it's not easy. I know that it can feel overwhelming. The whole standing up in front of everyone you know and love and confessing your love to someone else as well, it's not for everyone. And it's overwhelming, and you might not be used to people looking at you quite so intensely. You might not like the attention. Like, so many couples hate the attention on their wedding day. And there's this whole thing about, like, you shouldn't hate the attention. Like, it's your wedding day. Everyone's come to see you. You should just love it and enjoy it and thrive on it. Not everyone's going to. Not everyone is going to. And that is why we adjust things. That's why we, personalize things or tweak things or do things in a way that makes us feel comfortable, because not everybody wants to go and stand up there and be like the big star of the show for the day, even though that's what everybody's come to see, if that makes sense. So I know how your vows can feel quite overwhelming, and they're personal, right? Particularly if you're wanting to personalize them. Hence the words there. They are personal, and it's like you're opening up your heart about your partner in front of everybody that you know and love, and that can be daunting and overwhelming. So my suggestion here, if you're wanting to personalize and you're wanting to do something a bit different, but you're feeling overwhelmed and you're sat there writing it thinking, oh, I want to write this, but knowing that everyone else is going to hear it is too much for me, you don't have to do them in front of people. I love the idea of doing private vows. So maybe you do your ceremony and you have like the usual spiel. This is what you say, read after me, say it after me. I do. You're now husband and wife and wife, whatever. Fine. You could do that. And then you could go and you could have like 15, 20 minutes. Get yourself a glass of champagne and a quiet room somewhere and read each other your personalized vows. You could do it before your ceremony. You could do it after your ceremony. You could do it at any point in the day that feels right for you. Taking some time, which I always advocate for, just taking some time for you as a couple to just be alone together and just soak in the fact that, oh my gosh, we're married. Oh my gosh, our wedding day's finally here. Oh my goodness, all these people have come to see us. How amazing. The day flies by. And if you don't take those pockets of like moments when you can, you'll get to the end of the day and be like, oh my gosh, we haven't even checked in with each other. And it's our wedding day. So I do recommend, if you can, finding those pockets of time. If it's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, you're going to go off with your photographer and have some pictures done at some point, but you're still with your photographer. Like, you're still having those moments captured. Maybe there's a time of the day where you think, we just want 10 minutes and we don't want anything captured. Like, we just want this to be a moment for us. This could be a perfect opportunity for that. Write your vows down, each on a piece of paper, or type them out, or whatever, however you want to do it. You could put them on your phone, but it's much less romantic. It's much nicer to hold like paper in your hands, and you could go and you could just read each other's vows to each other in private. That's much less daunting. It's much less overwhelming, and it feels a lot more approachable in a scenario where you're feeling nervous, right? You could even just hand the piece of paper to each other and you just sit there for a couple of minutes in quiet, just reading what the other person's written. And it's a much more peaceful like moment for you to just enjoy. That's another option. If you're super, super nervous and like this whole kind of idea of, when you're sat writing something and you're thinking, oh, should I put this in? Or how much should I say? Or how emotional should I go in this? Like, what's the other person going to do? How emotional are they going to go for this? Are we going to match on that level of emotional and funny and everything else? I don't personally think there's anything wrong with writing your vows together. sit next to each other whilst you do it. Sit in the same room, set aside a date night to do it together where you can be open about it. And if it makes you comfortable to read each other's vows before the day, then do that. Again, there's this whole idea that you can't see each other on the morning of, you can't have anything to do with each other in the morning of, you can't read each other's vows, you can't know what the other person's going to say. It has to be a surprise. It doesn't have to be a surprise. If surprises are overwhelming for you, if everything feels like it's too much for you in that kind of scenario, make it work for you. The only people that are going to be funny about it and be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, is the people that you don't want their opinions anyway. Those people don't matter. This is about you guys, okay? So you are going to have so many other opportunities on the day to do things the traditional way or the normal way if you want to. You don't have to do every single thing by the book, okay? Because there's no laws, there's no rules. I say it all the time that no one's going to come knocking on your door and take you away to jail because you read each other's vows before the wedding ceremony. That's just not how it works. So give yourselves a break. Like, don't let yourselves get stressed out about it. I know it's overwhelming. I know it can be hard, but my honest opinion and my honest advice would just be to find a scenario that works for you. If it's too much overall, don't do the personalized vows. Don't do them at all. But I can't imagine there being many people that wouldn't at least feel comfortable with just writing them down as like a nice letter to each other, like a love letter of, I'm so excited I get to marry you. I love this about you. And I'm so excited for our future and all that kind of stuff. No one's going to hate having a letter written to them that you can just read in private and you don't need to make a big deal out of it. That's like your baseline perfect scenario in that case. Obviously, you've got the other end of the spectrum where people want to make a huge, big sing, song, and dance about everything in front of everyone they love, and they have no problems with that. Like, that's their thing. They love doing that. They love being the center of attention, and they're really excited to put on that kind of, I don't want to say show because it's not a show, but like that experience for their guests, like that memory they want to perform in that sense and give to their guests. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm using the right words there, but either way, either end of the spectrum that you're on is fine. It's your preference. And if you're really, really struggling and you really can't comprehend the idea of having to do that, having a celebrant read your ceremony and write your ceremony for you can be a really nice happy medium for something like that, because a celebrant will work with you. They will get to know you. They will find a bit about what you do as hobbies, what you do together, what you're like as individuals, what you're like as a couple, your favorite memories, your family, all those things. And they will write you your ceremony from start to finish, including all of those bits of information. So if you're looking for something personalized, but your vows maybe aren't feeling like the way to do it, it's too overwhelming, get someone else to do it. Get a celebrant to do it, and you just have to stand there and smile and just let people, like your guests, will be listening and laughing at the bits that are funny and smiling and at the kind of heartfelt bits, and you just have to stand there and go, yeah, isn't that sweet, isn't that cute? And your celebrant will do all of the hard work for you. That's what they are. That's what you're hiring them to do. It's what you're paying them to do. It's their job. And people in the wedding industry, there'll always be a few that have come into it just because it's a job. But for the most part, people that come into the wedding industry come into this space because we love it so, so, so much. And we are honored to be a part of your wedding day. And we're confident in what we do. We're knowledgeable in what we do. We know how to help you have the best day of your lives. So trust that and use these suppliers to your advantage. Find the suppliers that feel right for you, that you connect with, that you have a really good vibe with, and go from there. It doesn't have to be high pressure. It doesn't have to be stress. If you're finding the right suppliers and you're finding the right people for you to work with, the whole process will just feel so much more comfortable for you. I keep hitting my microphone as well today. I'm so not used to being in my normal space. Who knows what the sound's going to sound like? I apologize in advance. But yeah, that would be my advice for that. And I could go on and on and on, but I love a personalized vow. If it's something you want to do, find a way to do it that makes it comfortable for you. You could even, I'm still thinking on the spot, you could even film your vows to each other and like play them during the ceremony. If the thought of speaking out loud is just too much for you and you want to like play them as a recording, an audio recording or a video recording during your ceremony, then do that. And then again, you just have to stand there and just soak it all in. You don't have to say anything in the spot and worry about, stuttering on your lines or forgetting something or, sounding stupid. You could record that 3 or 4 times until you get it right, That's your choice. So there are options. Anyway, next one. Can I get some inspiration for small touches that guests will notice and appreciate? Really, really nice question, and really, really nice topic in general, I think, because there's two sides of the coin, I think, when you're planning a wedding. Half of it where you want the day to be about you and your partner, which it should be, and you should be focusing on you. But at the same time, you are inviting all of these people to share that day with you and to make these memories. There is a certain amount of wanting your guests to enjoy the day and feel involved and experience things that you've intentionally added into the day, where they can go, oh, that's so lovely, oh, that's really nice. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good point and a really good topic to do some brainstorming on, and kind of see how you could incorporate those bits into your day. The small touches and the details, a lot of people will say, oh, your guests are never going to notice it, don't bother about it. I disagree. I don't think you need to go overboard. I don't think you need to overthink every single little tiny detail and decision, but there will be things on the day where it's like a tiny little detail, and there will be someone, even if it's just one person, that goes, oh my God, that's so lovely. And honestly, even if you ever know that they've said that or not, I think it's worth it. So I would be thinking of things like, oh, honestly, you could go crazy with stuff like this. The small details, the little touches. So it could be anything from making sure your guests are catered to. So you might be thinking, I want to make sure that on arrival, everybody gets like their favorite drink or something. Like you're thinking about your guests, thinking, I want to make sure even that they've just got a drink on arrival, like there's something that I've thought about them. We're not just getting them here and then making them wait for an hour while we're doing this, that and the other, and they're not being thought about or catered to. Think about the things that might make them feel comfortable. If it's cold outside of an evening, you're putting blankets out there, you're thinking about things they might want. It's those things when you're doing like, here's a basket of flip-flops that everybody used to do for like sore dancing feet or slippers and stuff, I think being organized to a really high degree is important when it comes to that, because yes, you're paying for your guests. Yes, it's a luxury for them to be there. It's an honor, it's a privilege, all that stuff that I always say. But at the same time, it's a day out for them. Like they're getting, if you're doing a 3-course meal and you're sitting down, they are getting catered to, they're getting served to. So you want that process to be really good. So you want to be thinking about the suppliers you're bringing in, the people that are going to be serving and interacting with your guests. You could be thinking about little things like where people do like personalized place cards, but it's got like a little message for that individual person on the back of it, or like even writing full like little love notes for every single guest that's personalized, and people will look at those and think, oh my God, look at the effort they've gone to. Recently I've seen a lot of the tables where people are putting out loads of pictures in picture frames of everybody there, like their wedding. So they're like mum and dad's wedding picture, their nan and granddad's wedding picture, their friends' wedding pictures, and they're having this little space where it's like all the people that have got married before us that are at this day. And people love that. Like, and that's such a nice little touch that your guests are going to look around and be like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. That's so lovely. Like, they'll remember it and they'll feel appreciated. If that's something that's important to you, go ahead and do that. Other kind of little detail things could be things about your relationship as a couple, like little funny things that maybe you've got tiny little graphic images of your cat, or maybe you're both really into golf, so there's a little golf club and a golf ball on there or something, like little tiny images of all the things that make you as a couple who you are, that your guests will be like, oh my gosh, look, I didn't see that at first, look at that little picture of Sunny the cat, how cute is that? And then like it's the little details that they think, oh, that's so sweet. You can tell they put the time and energy into this, you can tell they put the effort in. Again, if it's not important to you, don't do it. But if your intention is, we want lots of little pockets of things throughout the day that your guests are going to be like, oh my gosh, so surprised. Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. These are the kind of things you can be doing. So I feel like I've rambled through that quite quickly, but essentially you could be doing things that are about you as a couple in your decor, your styling, your signage, your stationery, little touches that reflect you as a couple. You could be doing things throughout the day that serve your guests. So you are making sure they are considered, they're thought about, bathroom caddies of little things that your guests can use if there's nothing in there, things like that. Maybe you're saying to your magician that's coming, or there's someone here that's really obsessed with magic and magicians, can you make sure you go and do your best trick for them, and you're pointing them out and making sure that that's going to happen on the day. Things like that, that you don't need to spend so much time thinking about, we need to make sure every single guest has the most insane experience and they need to have like something real magic happen to them on the day. No, they don't. But if there's a few things that naturally happen on the day where there's a few guests that think, oh, I feel so special from that, That was so amazing. I'm never going to forget that. Surely that's enough, right? Like that's what you're looking for. Essentially, small touches. It doesn't need to be big, major things. It's just the little things. Maybe you're doing gifts. A lot of people like to do gifts for their wedding party or for their parents and things like that. You might be giving flowers out to special people. You might be giving bottles of wine or little gifts to people. You don't have to. No one's going to expect it or notice if you don't do it. But if you do it, it's like oh my gosh, that's so lovely and thoughtful. So yeah, think about that. Think about what might serve you. I like this one. And this might end up being like last one for the episode today because I could go on about this for a little bit. But this one says, how do you balance personal touches with respecting family traditions or expectations? Boy, what a question. I mean, if you've ever listened to this podcast before, if you've followed me on Instagram and you've seen my content and you've heard me talk before, you know how passionate I am about doing things your way and not having to follow the expectations and the pressures that other people are putting on you if you don't want to. So there's that. But I completely understand that people have traditions they maybe want to follow, but it doesn't feel quite right for them, or it doesn't sit right with them, and it doesn't excite them or make them feel super comfortable. And there's also general traditions that you think, I want it to feel wedding day enough. That's not a word, wedding day, but I want it to feel enough like a wedding day that I feel like I've had a wedding and not just a regular party, a regular event, But I want to put my own spin on it as well. I want to do some of the non-traditional stuff. I want to incorporate those things. How do we make that work? There are a million things you can do, and a lot of it is going to depend on the type of couple you are, the type of wedding you want, how comfortable you are with switching things up, and what specific things don't sit right with you. Okay, it's easy for me to sit here and say, do this, do this, do this. But if you're actually thinking, well, none of that's relevant to me because we want to have a traditional wedding ceremony, but we only want to change it at the evening stuff, or we want to flip this around and do this. Like everybody's got their own personal preference on what they're kind of hoping to flip, hoping to do non-traditionally and traditionally, right? But when it comes to families, it's hard. It's just so hard. I hear enough stuff, I read enough stuff of people with their families having disagreements and falling out, or couples being like, we just ended up having to just do this because it was just becoming so stressful that we thought it's not worth it for us to fight it. So family gets what they want. We'll change our venue for them. I'll get the dress that they want me to get for them. We'll do the food that they want us to get because they're complaining about it. Like, I get it. Families are tough, but it makes me so disheartened and so sad when people aren't getting the day that they want, the decisions that serve them, the decisions that they would make if you had an option between one or two. Gun to your head, choose one. If you're having to go with the other one because your family want you to do it, that makes me sad, makes me really sad. But I do think there is an element of compromise that can be involved. And most people, if they feel like they're being listened to, if they feel like they are being heard and understood, particularly when it comes to family traditions and things that maybe your parents have done and their grandparents before them. Of course, coming down to this generation, it's very outdated, essentially, right? A lot of these things, but it might be something that you want to include. It might be something that you think, yeah, well, we're happy to continue that tradition, but how do we make it our own? How do we do it in our own way? Is there a way to do that and adjust it? Or is it just a case of saying, fine, we'll do that, but we're going to change something else around instead, Maybe, and I think I've said this before, maybe there's like a dress that's been passed down for generations that all the brides wear in your family, or a suit that gets passed down to all the men, and you're thinking it's not my thing at all, not my kind of thing. But maybe your compromise there can be, I wear it for the ceremony, I wear it to get married in, I will wear this generational hand-me-down type thing. But then as soon as that's done, I'm changing into something that makes me feel comfortable, and I've got my drinks reception and I've got the evening and the meal and everything else in something that I feel really incredible in. Maybe that's your compromise, and maybe that's something you're happy with, right? So find that balance. As tough as it is, I think it's really important to put some boundaries in place, to put some kind of thing around you to protect you as a couple when you're planning a wedding, so that we've got our little bubble, we've got something that's going to serve us. Like, this is how we are doing things. And there's only a certain amount of leeway we're willing to give so that we still get a day that serves us and makes us feel incredible, right? I hope that makes sense. And honestly, I could do an entire episode on, well, if you have to do this, then you could do this instead. And if you want to do this, then you could do this instead. Or if you want to change this, you could do this. Like, the amount of different elements on your wedding day that you can flip and adjust, you can change anything, whether it's the getting ready in the morning, whether it's the breakfast, whether it's the ceremony or the music or the readings you do or what you're wearing or what your bridesmaids are wearing or your wedding party. Like, I could just go on and on and on. There's an infinite amount of things that you could change and adjust to serve you. So take your time with it, I think. And I talk about expectations a lot, you know, managing expectations from family, from friends, from guests, whatever the situation is. You have to hold firm in those expectations and be clear with people, because misunderstandings can happen all the time. If you're not clear, people will take what they want to hear and run with it if you're not explicitly clear. And sometimes you just have to say, really sorry, we're not doing that in this instance. This is what we're doing instead. Or, yep, we are going to do this, but it's not going to be the traditional way. We're doing this instead. And it's just about saying that, standing firm in that, like bracing yourself for any difficulties that come with it. At the end of the day, the wedding day will pass. And as awful as it sounds to say in the moment, once your wedding day passes, for everyone else, it's quickly forgotten about, right? For you as a couple, you'll remember it forever. And like your close family, you'll talk about it, but it's never going to be as important for anyone else as it is for you as a couple. So anyone that's upset by anything, anyone that's bothered by anything, it will pass. Like, sometimes you just have to be like, no, this is what's happening. I'm putting my foot down. And like 6 months after you've got married, no one's going to be talking about, oh, well, they didn't do this. They're going to be talking about all the amazing things you did do, what you did include and how amazing it was and whatever else. And maybe there's new family weddings that people are planning and they're dealing with the same things. Like, it's tough and it's a lot, but I think finding that balance, being clear, communicating really well and holding boundaries in place is the best place to start when you're trying to find that mix between traditional, non-traditional, personal touches, all the expectations from family. It can be a lot. So start there. And if you have any more questions about that topic, then just let me know. Send me a DM, send a question into the podcast. That's yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. And we could talk about it. I'm more than happy to go through this in another episode, like in a bit more detail, because I know that families are tough. Families and guests are the most difficult part about weddings, honestly. They are the worst. But yeah, I totally understand. Right. I said quick, short episodes. It's been half an hour. I need to cut myself off now. Maybe I'll do a part 3 because I do still have more questions and points here to go through. But thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding. I look forward to bringing you some new episodes in the coming weeks. If there's anything you ever want me to talk about, if there's anything, maybe you've just got engaged and you're thinking, I need to know this, or maybe you're deep in the planning process and thinking, oh my gosh, how do we navigate this aspect of planning? Let me know. I can do an episode about it. I can do a couple of episodes about it. I can answer any DMs or questions that you send me. Anything you need, I'm here to help. So let me know. But thank you so much for listening to a part 2, my first part 1, part 2. Very exciting. And I will be back next week with more tips, more inspiration, more insights. And yeah, have a great week. Happy planning. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and excited to create your dream wedding day and those lasting memories. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'll be back next Wednesday with more tips, advice, and inspiration. In the meantime, don't be a stranger. Come and find me on Instagram and TikTok at Your Wedding Unlimited, where I share even more wedding ideas and behind-the-scenes insights. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube at Your Wedding Unlimited. And if you're looking for even more support, come and join my private Facebook group, Your Wedding Unlimited. It's an amazing community of fun and authentic engaged couples, packed with extra tips, advice, and insights to guide you along your journey. If you have any questions or need more info, you can DM me or send me an email at yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. All links and details will be in the show notes. Until next time, happy planning!